अच्छा अच्छा नहीं नहीं Supreme Court reinstates non-party caretaker government system effective from the 14th national election. Bangladesh begins walking on democratic highway by restoring caretaker government system, says Attorney General. Advisory Council okays draft law to establish separate secretariat for Supreme Court. Armed Forces Day to be observed tomorrow in a befitting manner with various programs amid proper enthusiasm and festivity. Hearing of approver SI Sheikh Afzalul Haq in the 6th body burning case and 7th killing in Ashulia postponed till 26th November. Commonwealth Secretary General due to arrive in Dhaka tonight on a 4-day visit. At least 32 Palestinians, including 12 children, killed and 88 injured in Israeli air strikes in Gaza amid ceasefire. And Bangladesh are leading with 378 runs in the first innings against Ireland. Mushfiqur becomes the first Bangladeshi batter to score a century in the 100th Test. Assalamu alaikum viewers, this is News at 10 on BTV News. I'm Imtiaz Ahmed Siddiqui. You just heard the highlights. Let's move on to the details of those stories. The Appellate Division of the Supreme Court today reinstated the caretaker government system, allowing civil appeals filed in this connection. The revived caretaker government provisions, however, can operate in future. By unanimous decision, the civil appeals are allowed and civil review petitions are disposed of accordingly, said the short judgment pronounced by the Appellate Division full bench headed by Chief Justice Syed Rifat Ahmed this morning. The Apex Court found that the judgment under review is tainted by several cited errors apparent on the face of the record. It follows that the judgment under review is hereby set aside in its entirety. The Apex Court on November 11 had fixed today for pronouncing the judgment after holding hearings on the matter for 10 consecutive days. Attorney General Mohammad Asaduzzaman, Additional Attorney General Barrister Anik R. Haq took part in the hearing for the state, while senior advocates Zainul Abidin and Ruhul Quddus Kajol argued on behalf of the BNP. On behalf of Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami, Advocate Mohammad Shishir Munir presented arguments, whereas Advocate Sharif Bhuiya represented 5 distinguished citizens. Barrister Ehsan Abdullah Siddiqui also participated in the hearing as an intervener. On August 27, 2025, the Appellate Division granted leave to appeal against its 2011 judgment that had declared the 13th Amendment, which introduced the caretaker government system, unconstitutional. The court passed the order after hearing multiple review petitions seeking reinstatement of the 13th Amendment and revival of the caretaker system. A total of 4 review petitions were filed by BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, Jamaat Secretary General Mia Ghulam Parwar, 5 prominent citizens including Shujun Secretary Dr. Bodil Alam Mojumdar and another individual petitioner. All petitions were heard together. Earlier on December 17 in 2024, the High Court had declared the abolition of the caretaker government system unconstitutional. After the judgment, Attorney General Mohammad Asaduzzaman briefed the journalists. Attorney General said the Supreme Court's historic verdict restoring the non-party caretaker government system marks the beginning of what he described as a journey on democratic highway for the country. He said the verdict paved the way for ensuring that the people of Bangladesh will be able to cast their votes freely in the coming days. From now on, people will cast their votes. There will be no more incidents of stuffing ballots before the election, and no deceased person will come up at a polling center to give vote. We believe the nation is now moving to a genuine democratic highway, Attorney General said. Law advisor Dr. Asif Nazrul said that Thursday marks a historic verdict. After a long struggle, the caretaker government system has been established, ensuring free and fair elections. During the tenure of the caretaker government, several credible elections were held and ruling parties were defeated. He said this at a press conference held at the Foreign Service Academy after Advisory Council meeting in the capital today. Asif Nazrul said that initially the 15th Amendment had been declared illegal in a verdict a couple of months ago. Today, the earlier highly controversial ruling by former Chief Justice Khairul Haq, which had declared the caretaker government system illegal, has been annulled. The law advisor further stated that the caretaker government system can now be considered revived. However, it will only take effect after the next national parliamentary elections, because the caretaker government comes into play once the parliament is dissolved. Since the parliament currently does not exist, the caretaker government will be formed within 15 days after the next parliament is dissolved, in accordance with the High Court's instructions. The government gave final approval to the draft of Supreme Court Secretariat Ordinance 2025 to establish a separate secretariat of the Apex Code, aiming to ensuring the full independence of the judiciary. The approval came from a meeting of the Council of Advisors held with Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus in the chair at the Chief Advisor's office in the capital's Tejgaon today. The Advisory Council gave final approval for the Land Use Control and Protection of Agricultural Land Ordinance 2025. Besides, the Advisory Council also given in principle approval to the draft of Human Trafficking and Migrant Smuggling Prevention and Suppression Ordinance 2025. Members of the Advisory Council and secretaries concerned were present at the meeting. After the meeting, Law Advisor Professor Asif Nazrul and Chief Advisor's Press Secretary Shafiqul Alam briefed the reporters at the Foreign Service Academy. The Law Advisor said all the political parties agreed during the discussions of the National Consensus Commission that there should be a separate secretariat for the Supreme Court to ensure the full independence of the judiciary.
এই অধ্যাদেশ কার্যকরী হওয়ার পর নিম্ন আদালতের বিচারকদের যে কন্ট্রোল বলতে কি বোঝায় এটা বলি। নিম্ন আদালতের বিচারকদের পদায়ন, বদলি, পদোন্নতি, শৃঙ্খলাজনিত বিষয়াদি, ছুটি সংক্রান্ত বিষয়াদি, এমনকি নিম্ন আদালতের বিচারকদের নিয়োগ, কর্মের শর্তাবলী নির্ধারণ, সমস্ত কিছু সুপ্রিম কোর্টের সচিবালয় করবে। আইন মন্ত্রণালয় যেটা করত এটা সম্পূর্ণভাবে সুপ্রিম কোর্টের সচিবালয়ের হাতে চলে যাবে। অন্য যারা আছেন বিচার বিভাগে যারা কাজ করেন বিচারক, তারা অন্য কোনো জায়গাতে প্রশাসনিক দায়িত্ব পালন করেন। যেমন ধর নির্বাচন কমিশন, দুর্নীতি দমন কমিশন, জুডিশিয়াল অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেশন ট্রেনিং ইনস্টিটিউট, আইন কমিশন, এই ধরনের প্রতিষ্ঠানে, সরকারি প্রতিষ্ঠানে বিচার বিভাগীয় কর্মকর্তারা, নিম্ন আদালতের বিচারকরা প্রশাসনিক দায়িত্ব পালন করেন। মন্ত্রণালয়ের মধ্যেও ওনারা প্রশাসনিক দায়িত্ব পালন করেন। এই যে প্রশাসনিক দায়িত্ব নিম্ন আদালতের যে বিচারকরা পালন করবেন, ওনাদের কাজের শৃঙ্খলা, ছুটির বিষয়াদি, কন্ট্রোল, এটা কিন্তু আইন মন্ত্রণালয়ের হাতেই থাকবে।
Dr. Asif Nazrul said the government will send a letter to India requesting the extradition of Sheikh Hasina and Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal, who have been convicted in a crimes against humanity case by International Crimes Tribunal 1.
আওয়ামী লীগ নেত্রী শেখ হাসিনা এবং সাবেক স্বরাষ্ট্রমন্ত্রী আসাদুজ্জামান কামাল ওনাদের এক্সট্রাডিশনের জন্য আমরা চিঠি দিচ্ছি এবং এর পাশাপাশি ওনাদের প্রত্যর্পণ করার জন্য যেহেতু ওনারা এখন কনভিক্টেড মৃত্যুদণ্ডপ্রাপ্ত কাজেই আমরা মনে করি ভারতের এখন বাড়তি দায়িত্ব রয়েছে তাদের ফেরত দেওয়ার জন্য বাংলাদেশের মানুষের বিচারের আকাঙ্ক্ষা সেটা পূরণ করার জন্য এই দায়িত্ব পালনে ভারত যেন আমাদের সাথে এক্সট্রাডিশন চুক্তি অনুযায়ী তার অব্লিগেশন পালন করে সেই জন্য সেটা স্মরণ করিয়ে দিয়ে ভারতকে আমরা চিঠি দিচ্ছি একই সাথে এই কনভিক্টেড ব্যক্তিদের দেশে ফেরানোর জন্য আন্তর্জাতিক যে অপরাধ আদালত রয়েছে রোমে সেখানে আমরা কোনো রকম অ্যাপ্রোচ করতে পারি নাকি সেটা বিচার বিবেচনা করার জন্য আমরা অচিরেই বসে সিদ্ধান্ত নিব
Press Secretary Shafiqul Alam said that after the interim government took office on August 8 last year, a total of 394 matters were decided in the Advisory Council meetings up to August 31st this year. Of these, 322 have been implemented, while 72 decisions are under implementation.
অগাস্ট পর্যন্ত যে কয়টা মিটিং হয়েছে মোট 51টা মিটিং হয়েছে সেই মিটিং এর সিদ্ধান্ত সমূহের উপরে একটু আলাপ হয়েছে এবং 394টি ডিসিশন নেওয়া হয়েছিল এই কাউন্সিল অফ অ্যাডভাইজারি মিটিং গুলোতে 394 ডিসিশনস ওয়ার টেকেন তার মধ্যে ইমপ্লিমেন্টেড হয়েছে 322টি which is 82%. তো যতগুলো ডিসিশন হয়েছে তার 82% ইমপ্লিমেন্টেড হয়েছে অ্যাকর্ডিং টু দ্য ক্যাবিনেট সেক্রেটারি এটা হচ্ছে রেকর্ড ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশন এরকম এই এত কম সময়ে এতগুলো ডিসিশন নেয় এবং ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশন এর আগে কোনো গভর্নমেন্ট 54 বছরে হয়নি আর 72 ডিসিশনস আর আন্ডার ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশন বাকি যে কয়টা আছে আর ক্যাবিনেটে মোট 251টি সারসংক্ষেপ উপস্থাপিত হয়েছে এবং এটা নিয়ে ডিসকাশন হয়েছে
In the case filed for crimes against humanity over the killing of 7 people, including the burning of 6 bodies in Ashulia, Savar during the July mass uprising, the cross-examination of Police Sub-Inspector Sheikh Afzalul Haq, who testified as a prosecution witness, has been completed. The next hearing is scheduled for November 26. This morning, the cross-examination began before the 3-member judicial panel of International Crimes Tribunal 2, headed by Justice Nazrul Islam Chaudhry. The other members of the tribunal are retired District and Sessions Judge Mohammad Manzoorul Basid and District and Sessions Judge Noor Muhammad Shahriar Kabir. Lawyers for the accused cross-examined SI Sheikh Afzalul Haq, the prosecution witness. Earlier yesterday, the tribunal recorded his testimony. In the statement, SI Afzalul Haq apologized to the families of the martyrs and to the tribunal. Armed Forces Day will be observed tomorrow through various programs amid festivity and enthusiasm, marking the establishment of Army, Navy and Air Force during the 1971 Liberation War. The day's programs will begin with offering of special prayers after Fajr prayers at all mosques in all the cantonments and naval and Air Force bases throughout the country on the day, seeking divine blessings for the well-being and prosperity of the nation and progress of the armed forces. On the occasion, President Mohammad Shahabuddin, also the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces Division and Chief Advisor of the Interim Government, Professor Dr. Muhammad Yunus, issued separate messages. On the eve of the day, the President and the Chief Advisor will place wreaths at the Shikha Onirban at Dhaka Cantonment on Friday morning, paying homage to the members of the martyred armed forces who made their supreme sacrifices in the War of Liberation in 1971. Subsequently, Chief of Army Staff General Waqaruzzman, Navy Chief Admiral Muhammad Najmul Hassan and Chief of the Air Force Air Chief Marshal Hassan Mahmud Khan will also lay wreaths there on behalf of their respective forces. The chiefs of the 3 services will also pay courtesy call on the Chief Advisor at the Department of Armed Forces Division and later the President of the Republic at the Bongo Bhavan on the day. On the occasion of the Armed Forces Day 2025, the Chief Advisor will accord a reception to family members of Bir Shreshthos and selected Gallantry Award-winning 1971 veterans and their family members at the Army Multipurpose Complex in the Dhaka cantonment. At this time, the Chief Advisor will distribute greeting cards and exchange greetings with the 101 selected Gallantry Award-winning freedom fighters and their heirs. To mark the day, the Chief Advisor will host a reception at Shena Kunjo of Dhaka cantonment tomorrow. Besides, the reception program will be organized at Borishal, Cox's Bazar, Bogura, Sylhet, Ghatal, Chattogram, Jashore, Rangpur and Khulna cantonments and bases under the management of the respective areas' headquarters. Meanwhile, to celebrate the day with due dignity, various programs will also be held at other army garrisons, naval ships and installations and air force bases of the country outside Dhaka. Specially equipped naval ships in Dhaka, Khulna, Chandpur, Borishal and Chattogram will be kept at the nearby, anchored for the public. Bangladesh will accord a red carpet welcome to Bhutanese Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay as he arrives in Dhaka on Saturday for a 3-day state visit aimed at advancing bilateral relations through enhanced connectivity, trade and investment. Chief Advisor Professor Dr. Mohammad Yunus will formally receive the Bhutanese Prime Minister at Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport. During the visit, he will attend a series of engagements, including talks with Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus. Foreign Secretary Asad Alam Siam briefed the media outlining the Bhutanese leaders' programs at the Foreign Ministry this afternoon. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus extended the invitation to the Bhutanese Premier on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in September this year, which Prime Minister Tobgay warmly accepted at the time. Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay is expected to leave Dhaka on Monday. Commonwealth Secretary-General Shirley Bochwe today began her first official visit to Bangladesh to discuss areas of mutual interest, including deepening engagement to support the people's aspirations for peace, stability, democracy, good governance and prosperity. Arriving in Dhaka for a 4-day visit from November 20 to 24, she will meet key figures in the interim government, including Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus, political party leaders, the Chief Election Commissioner, High Commissioners and other representatives, according to the Commonwealth Secretariat. Her visit comes ahead of Bangladesh's general election expected in February 2026 and at what the Secretariat described as a pivotal moment in the country's national journey. During her meetings, the Secretary-General will brief stakeholders on the Commonwealth's new strategic plan, which identifies democracy as one of its 3 core pillars and will seek guidance on how tailored Commonwealth support can best assist the people of Bangladesh. Speaking ahead of her visit, Bochwe described Bangladesh as a valued member of the Commonwealth, noting that the Commonwealth was the first intergovernmental organization Bangladesh joined soon after the independence. The Commonwealth and Bangladesh have a strong partnership, one that matters even more now as the country heads towards the polls next year, she said. In line with the Commonwealth Charter, she said she would engage with a wide range of stakeholders to understand the context firsthand and explore where we can offer informed support in the spirit of partnership and mutual respect. The UN General Assembly's the Third Committee has adopted by consensus a resolution on Rohingya Muslims, urging renewed global efforts for a durable solution to the crisis and for the safe, voluntary return of Rohingyas to Myanmar. Jointly tabled by the Organization of Islamic Cooperation (OIC) and the European Union, the resolution was co-sponsored by 105 countries on Wednesday, according to a message received here from Bangladesh mission to the United Nations in New York. Adopted annually since 2017, it expresses deep concern over persistent human rights violations in Rakhine State, targeted persecution of Rohingya Muslims, restrictions on humanitarian access, and the continued influx of Rohingyas into Bangladesh and neighboring countries. The resolution also calls for sustained international engagement to ensure the safe, dignified, and sustainable repatriation of the Rohingyas to their homeland. Following the adoption, the Bangladesh delegation thanked member states for their continued support but voiced disappointment that no meaningful progress had been achieved in the last 8 years towards enabling the return of the displaced population. The delegation stressed that Bangladesh should no longer bear the burden of hosting 1.3 million Rohingyas and urged urgent international action to facilitate their repatriation to Myanmar. The government has begun procuring paddy and rice from the domestic market at a rate of 39 taka per kg for paddy, 49 taka per kg for non-boiled atop rice and 50 taka per kg for boiled rice. The information was disclosed by Food Advisor Alima Mojumdar during a press briefing held at the Secretariat this afternoon regarding the almond season's paddy and rice procurement activities. He stated that this year the government will procure 50,000 metric tons of almond paddy, 6 lakh metric tons of boiled rice and 50,000 metric tons of atop rice, adding that the prices were fixed keeping farmers' interests in mind. The advisor said the procurement drive will continue until February and the target amount is expected to be exceeded this year. However, he also noted that the government intends to complete the almond procurement campaign before the national parliamentary elections in February. National Security Advisor Khalilur Rahman said Bangladesh does not endorse interference in the internal affairs of any country. He added that Dhaka, in any circumstances, follows a policy of zero tolerance toward all forms of terrorism. He made the remarks while addressing the 7th NSA conference of the Colombo Security Conclave in the Indian Prime Minister's office in New Delhi today. Khalilur Rahman said Bangladesh upholds a set of core values including political freedom, national sovereignty, equality, and non-interference in internal matters. He further noted that Bangladesh supports a free, peaceful, protective, and inclusive Indo-Pacific. He emphasized the importance of respecting the UN Charter and international law and resolving international disputes through peaceful means. The Bangladesh National Security Advisor also underscored the need for sustainable development, international peace and security, humanitarian missions, and protection of fundamental rights and freedoms through a strengthened regional and global cooperation. Indian National Security Advisor Ajit Doval delivered the inaugural speech as the representative of the host country. BNP Standing Committee member Amir Khosrow Mahmood Chaudhry urged the interim government to rule the country modelled on the caretaker government system until the upcoming national election. He made the call today at a discussion titled Crisis Time Saviour and Martyred President Ziaur Rahman, held at the Jatiyo Press Club today. Bangladesh Crime Reporters Unity and the Bangladesh Private University Teachers Council jointly organised the discussion. Bangladesh Private University Teachers Council advisor Professor Dr. Muhammad Tawfiqul Islam Mithil chaired the function, while leaders of the organisation and central BNP leaders also spoke. Amir Khosrow further said that the Supreme Court verdict restoring the caretaker government system in the Constitution is an achievement of BNP's long political struggle. Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh has expressed its satisfaction over the High Court verdict reinstating the caretaker government system. Assistant Secretary General of the party, Ehsanul Mahbub Zubair, described the ruling as a milestone in the country's history while speaking at a press conference at the party's headquarters this afternoon. He said the caretaker system had earlier been scrapped through a controversial verdict, while paved the way for turning Sheikh Hasina into an autocratic ruler. He added that allowing incumbents to contest elections while in state power led to biased polls, and those controversial elections have now been black-marked in the nation's history. And now international news.